Good afternoon, everyone. As people start joining us, we are looking forward to a very, very exciting session today. And obviously, it is not something that is an unknown subject to us, but the good part is that, today we are discussing it possibly in a very open forum for the first time. There is a lot of advantage that people have, especially in the staffing industry, when we see that we have our associates, we have our customers, and both of them are equally important for our business. And how they are important, how can we make them feel the responsibility as well as we become more responsible towards them, is what this whole session and the webinar is all about. We have extremely knowledgeable subject matter experts who have joined us today, and it is an honor for me to bring them on board and introduce to all of you who are joining us right now. And as the attendees keep joining us, I would also bring in the specialists and also the subject matter experts on this particular session. With your permission, and thank you so much, Prejune, for sponsoring this event and webinar. It is a pleasure to have you as a partner to us. And we are hopeful that you will be able to get a lot of traction from the knowledge that the people who are joining us today, the staffing companies that are joining us today. Please do visit this website of Prejune. It's a very, very friendly website, and it's a must-have tool for the recruiters of today. Moving forward, thank you so much, Vishnu, for joining us and becoming the session chair. Vishnu Dev is not only the corporate member representing from LHS Group, and he's the Director India for Aston Carter. He is also the championing participant of various activities that ISF does, and we are very thankful for Vishnu to take out time for this particular webinar and taking it forward. We have Monisha Basaketre, who is, and I'm sorry, Monisha, again, if I pronounced it incorrect. She is director with executive director with Prom Personal, and also the corporate member of Indian Staffing Federation. Has been a very, very strong voice of the industry, and we are very happy to have your time with us. Thank you, Monisha. We have Mayur Tade, who is CEO People, joining us from Calibitar Business Support Services. And thank you so much, Mayur, not only because of the long drawn activities that you've been part of, but also from a participation that you bring to this subject. We are honored to have your time with us. We have Rupinder Singh, director from Multiplier Brand Solutions, again, an industry expert, and not to say we have been learning a lot from what you are bringing to the table, Rupinder. It is a pleasure to have you with us. Last but not the least, we have Philip Massey with us, who's joining us, who's AVP with Tucons, and is joining us today to discuss on the subject of not only how the experience of associates have been, but how they are becoming a strong tool from a customer's engagement perspective, because specifically he's also looking at most of the IT staffing part of it. So there is a lot of knowledge that we are looking forward to from this very, very esteemed panel that we have. Over to you, Vishnu. Thank you so much for sharing this time with us.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. It's good to see a large gathering of participants already with us. A great motivation for us, and personally, this subject is very close to my heart, and I was very happy to get the opportunity. Thank you, Suchita, for that. Let me start by introducing my panelists very briefly, because I was quite happy to see that there seems to be equal representation from all parts of the staffing industry in India, because Mayur from Caliber, Monisha from Prompt, they've been handling very large volume contracting, easily. I think Mayur at some of his times would have handled 50,000 plus contractors, So both of them have experience of handling very large contractor bases and associates spread across the country. You have somebody like Rupinder, who's from Brand Multiplier and who's done the retail and sales promoter programs. That is something which is now becoming very popular. In-shop activities where you drive brands, through your associates. So you have that part of the industry also being represented. And then you have Philip from 2Com, which is IT staffing, and me from Allegis. We do a lot of IT staffing. So I just thought it was a good mix, and that really excited me. Very brief introduction. This industry in India is just a little over 30 years. Yeah? I've been fortunate to be associated with the industry for close to 20 years now, and I've seen the evolution since then. Yeah. However, the industry is over 80 years old globally. So it's a way evolved industry globally, 80 plus years, and India is still very young, right? So sometimes I have seen associates, the relationship with customers and associates relationship with staffing companies evolving and changing in the last 20 years, and I was very keen to understand where we should expect this to go. A lot of us on this call choose to be associated with this industry because we want to give a lot back to society. And it's important for us to understand from experts that where do we see this industry going in future? Would it get as matured and evolved as the European countries, where contract staffing is almost a preferred mode of employment, right? So starting with that, I'll maybe move to my first question. Associates, as we call them, some call them consultants, some call them deputies, some call them contractors, and a lot of us have even started calling them employees. So they're just one of our own employees. But why the question came up as to whether do you consider your associates as a client, a customer, or not? So that was the major question which came up, when Suchita and ISF thought of doing this seminar, and that's the first question we'd like to debate on. Do you consider your associates as your customer, or is your customer only the client that pays your bills? Do a client who pays your service fee, are they the only ones you need to serve? I was just telling Monisha that Google, for example, Google considers all of us as customers. We don't pay any money to Google, right? Google probably treats us even more better than advertisers, than their real so-called clients who pay and advertise on Google. But we who don't pay anything are more important to Google than anybody else. Okay, and we are moving that industry ahead. So why is it not so in the staffing industry? Why do we not consider our associates just like another customer and give them that importance? So that's my first question that I'm putting forward to Monisha.
Thank you, Vishnu. Good evening, everybody, and my fellow panelists. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, ISF, Suchita, and Vishnu. The question that you asked was absolutely very close to my heart. Being in the temp staffing business now for over 2 decades, it is something which I would want to share with each one of you today, whoever is hearing me across in this webinar. First and foremost, let me start out with who is a temporary staff? Who is this person? In basic layman language, he's just an associate or an employee who is on the payroll of a company, but not belonging to that company, but to another temp staffing company. So as such, there is a tripartite agreement between the temp staffing company, this employee, as well as the client. This is a temporary staffing arrangement, guys. Now, where does a temp associate exactly belong to? Does he belong to the temp staffing company which has recruited him? Or does he belong to the client, customer, wherein he is working and toiling day in and day out? Well, the question here is, he does belong to the temp staffing company. He's an extended arm of the temp staffing company. He belongs to them because that company has actually sourced him out of the market, given him this kind of a job opportunity, and taken him and placed him wherever he is today. So this temp staff or contractual staffer or a flexi staffer, or I would say in simple words, an extended arm of the temp staffing company, your own employee, is as important as your client or the customer. He has to be treated very well. Now, today in these kind of COVID times, the pandemic times that we are going through, we have gone through 2 waves of the pandemic. What is primarily important is empathy, health, and wellness. These are three important things that we have to do when it comes to our temp associate. Yes, of course, he has to be treated royally, because at the end of the day, he is the one who is actually keeping us in the business, right? So how do we take care of these temp staffs? How do we make them feel really good? There are various ways. How do we take care of our clients? How important they are? Similarly, a temp associate also is very important for us. But there are broadly a few points which I would want to cover. Very few points, but these are very important basic hygiene factors. Leave benefits, health and wellness benefits, the reporting structure of the client organization. It has to be very well communicated to your temp associate. A salary annexure, a basic salary annexure and salary payouts have to be done on time to make him feel elated. Social security benefits, Provident Fund, ESIC, Mediclaim benefits, which are so important, GPA, GHIs, all this has to be taken, conveyed to him very, very prudently. Addressing their grievances, sorting out their issues is very, very important again. Identifying their learning needs and upskilling them for their own career growth. Introducing them to technology and automation, which has actually turned the world upside down today. All these basic factors have to be taken care for our associates because they are important to us, as equal as important to us as customers. They say customer is the king, but so is your temp associate today. Why? Because happy associates would always create happy customers for you. I think that's about it from my end.
Thank you. Thank you, Manisha. Very interesting. You know, in fact, I was observing a lot of staffing companies, taking initiatives for the vaccination drives for a lot of our associates very proactively, during these times. So I fully agree with what you said and quite nicely defined. Thank you. So I'm going to take the same question to Mayur. A lot of people know Mayur. He's again a veteran in this space. So Mayur, again the same question to you of why are they not considered, like Google considers us as very important customers without paying anything, any service fee. Why don't a lot of staffing companies still don't consider associates as important, as a customer?
Yeah, good evening, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity. And, Monisha has really explained it from an HR standpoint, from a human standpoint, how important they are. But when I look at it, and as you rightly mentioned, I've been associated for a decade now, and very early on, I understood that they are a very important part of the equation. Fundamentally, when you look at this business, you go and approach client and sign up a client, and the client gives us an open position. And then we go in search of a candidate. And when that candidate gets selected and is onboarded, becomes an associate. So an open position multiplied by an associate is equal to my management fee or the service fee. So from a staffing company standpoint, it couldn't be more clearer than this, that without an associate, there is no income for a staffing company. So basic fundamental of the business says that associate is a very important stakeholder or component of that equation. Okay. And why, again, we are in search of a candidate is the pain area of the client has always been recruitment, and especially when they want to scale up faster, expand faster. They require people who could fulfill their business requirements, manage their important business metric, or deliver their business needs. And having the right kind of people to, with the right quality and quantity becomes a crucial factor for the client, and therefore the need for outsourcing. But often I have wondered that if we turn the table on its head and taking a cue from your Google experience or example that you give, if we turn the table on its head and make the associate as a product, then it can become a big game changer. Okay, so imagine if we are able to provide an associate who is very well trained, certified, and highly productive, and can be plugged into the client's business operations and becomes highly productive from day one, then the client would be willing to pay us better and look at our arrangement with them at a different level. And in that situation, with those kind of higher payments, we would be able to get the investments and the attention equally divided between the client and the associate, which right now is highly skewed towards the clients. As staffing companies, we give more attention to the clients, but associate is a very, very important part. And I realized this during the pandemic time when I was using an online fulfillment services company on one day to get me a well-trained AC technician because my AC was not working at home. And on another day, I wanted a hairdresser because all the shops were closed. Somebody who came and serviced me, I was so delighted with the services that they provided that I was willing to pay them the price. So when an associate becomes a product and there's a lot of value addition that happens to the associate from the company that is a service provider company, then the entire game changes in favor of the associate. So in a nutshell, I would like to say that the associate is a very, very important component of the entire equation of our industry setup.
Thank you, Mayur. Interesting way in which you gave the example of who is the main or the most important component, in the business that we do, and we understand that it actually starts with our associates. It starts with there, and that's what, if we consider that as the most important part of our business and the most important component that keeps this industry going and keep serving them better, I'm sure the industry will move faster, and the perceptions will keep getting better. I see it improving a lot from the time I started off. The kind of roles that today associates handle have become very critical, and some very senior roles, which has come up on recent times, and it's moving up the value chain because people like all of you in various staffing companies were able to show the value to the customer, and I would suggest we all keep doing that, to help the industry move faster. The next question I have is to Rupinder. Again, a very interesting question. Rupinder, the kind of work you do, okay, brand promotions, and you have a lot more skin in the game, since you're responsible for many aspects of the productivity of your associates as well. So my question is, would you consider them as your brand ambassadors? Because one of the subjects for today's discussion was the brand ambassador aspect. Are they your brand ambassadors, okay, or not? Okay, or in which way can they be your brand ambassador? So I'll put that question to you, Rupinder.
Thank you, Vishnu, for the question, and I thanks ISF for providing this opportunity for me to come at this platform and speak. Actually, the moment this topic came in front, we actually jumped into it because this is something which is we have been doing it, we have been living it from past so many years, and especially during the pandemic time from last one. If you see any organization, take an example. Initially, it started with last year when the first wave came. People thought, okay, the frontline workers or on-ground people, especially from the brand promoter perspective, they all are free. What will they do when they're, while they're sitting at their home? Everybody started training them, online training, blah, 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 right? But gradually, if you see, after a couple of months, they realized, no, these are the actually people who are, making all of us sit at our, work from home. And they are on the ground and they are actually doing the last mile work is what we say, right? So on that note, yes, I agree to the thought. We should, and we have been considering them as a brand ambassadors for us. Uh, and actually, this is the moment of the truth. That's the reason why I have quoted example of pandemic situation. Now, if I see it from overall perspective, there are three major key stakeholders is what we are talking about, right? I'll try and give touch base all the three stakeholders and with a couple of examples. So the first stakeholder is staffing partners. So what is the benefit and that they drive, why we consider them a brand ambassadors? First and foremost is they create an impression, the first impression. If you keep them well and you keep treated them well, they will talk about your organization in the organization that they are working, that represent the culture, the loyalty, the bond that helps in creating a lot of value add in the life of the client with your relationship also. And with the vast coverage, especially organization like us who employ people at a various regional tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 level, see the actual customer, yes, is the client who's sitting in the HOs and regional office to whom we go and serve and we meet. But the real feedback comes from the on-ground clients who are working at a on-ground level. So these are the guys who helps creating that word of mouth about your organization, and hence that feedback comes to the national level or regional level client, and that's how I always feel that they are the true brand ambassadors for us, because they are the associates. They are like living and breathing embodiments for your brand. They bring your brand to life. Actually, is what the true essence of overall thing, which is for the staffing partner. And if associates are brand, if we consider them as a brand evangelist, distributing content on new channel and championing the brand to personal networks, you're getting the best kind of marketing from the most trusted messengers. Basically, that is the kind of value that they bring if you treat them well and you consider them brand ambassador. This is for the stakeholders perspective, right? Staffing partner. To client, as we all know, as Monisha also touched based and Mayur has also touched based that particular angle. See, clients also want to treat them in the same way that they have their own employees on board, right? They feel well, they feel very good. I can talk about very small things. It can start from a very small leave policy. You talk about any travel policy, you talk about very small things that these are the ways that you create them as your brand measures. And if you try and sync all such things with your clients, they actually become your brand ambassador. And and nevertheless said, they actually become a pool also in future from the absorption perspective also at times, because that's a culture, that's a value that you're putting in them, and hence they work as a brand ambassador. And the third key stakeholder here is the employee himself. As we all have just discussed so far, is that considering their sense of pride and belongingness, you control a lot of retention, attrition, especially in our industry, the attrition rates are very high. So that's the reason why we always try and consider them as a brand ambassador, and so that they work closely with us, right?
Rupinder,
And yes.
Rupinder, one quick question in continuation to what you were just saying.
Yeah.
When you call them as brand ambassadors, okay, and when you say that they have an impact on your customer, okay, or your client, okay, would you mean that and I remember Mayur saying that sometimes the service fees in India are not as good as the rest of the world, right? So don't you think we are responsible to increase the service fees? We can't blame the market. If your brand ambassador is able to add value to the customer, don't you think sooner or later the customer would be happy to offer you a bigger service fee if you become an important part of their business, or a strategic partner to them?
Certainly, Vishnu. It's practically happening. It is happening. If you consider them well and you consider them as a brand ambassador, it actually adds the value, not only from an extra percentage. Yes, that is the final objective, right? And also, what we drive from the business agenda, it helps you a lot of other ways also. See, imagine a scenario. I can give you one example. For example, we work with one of the largest e-com company. there are a lot many people who work with us in that, employees for over a period of 4 or 5 years. And today we feel very good when they themselves are working in different organizations, right? So one is the organic growth, what you look at from where, clients are ready to pay you some extra basis the value that you bring it on table by making them your brand ambassador. And second is the inorganic or the, the other growth that you get when these guys go to the other organization. One example that I quote you, for example, we work with telecom from good 2006 to 2012, for good 5-6 years. We used to be the leading company for the telecom because we worked with one telecom company and we created so many brand ambassadors in that telecom company. Then thereafter, any telecom company that they worked with, they called us and they brought us a new business, from there also. So it's there are a lot many ways. There are inorganic and organic, both the ways you make these guys, as a brand ambassadors. So that's with this, I will take a pause, on the overall viewpoint. So just to summarize, it helps all the three stakeholders. It's a win-win situation for all: the staffing partner, the employees, and the clients. Thank you.
Thanks, Rupinder. Mayur, before I come to Philip, can I just bring you in on the same point on can we, how do you, or has any customer requested you to increase the productivity and the output of some of the associates, who you've been managing? And can that result in a bigger strategic partnership? Can that result in, when I say service fees going up, what I mean is that you are producing more for your customer, and you have a role in it, through better client engagement, moving up the value chain. Do you see that, any such examples?
Yeah, I think, and this is going to be very pertinent when we actually go into the gig space, that, the clients have always been concerned about their wage bill. And for example, we're working with a third-party logistics company from 2012, and the minimum wage that time was around 8,000 rupees in India. And today, and the associates were able to do about 25 to 30 delivery of consignments at that point in time. So even today, that minimum wage has gone up to 20,000, but the number of consignments delivered remain 25 to 30 again. So from that standpoint, the customer is having a real challenge of managing, the cost per task completed. Okay. So as the moment we are able to, create associate as a product, as I was mentioning earlier, and then offer a solution to a client by saying that I have someone who is well trained and is well certified and will be able to plug into the business metric of your organization, then I think the clients would be willing to offer more. Okay. So currently what's happening in staffing industry is most of us are plugging into only the HR metric and specifically the recruitment metric of the organization. And therefore it's quantity driven more than the qualitative or the value addition that we do with, with those associates. The moment the value addition goes up, I'm sure the clients would look at it in a different way and we can enhance our service fees. So at Caliber, we are already experiencing the blurring of lines between our BPM business and our staffing business. In the BPM business, we are offering value added manpower to the client and focusing on the business outcome, therefore the entire client engagement and the overall experience of managing that whole arrangement goes to a different level, and therefore we get better compensation there. So I'm sure the moment we plug into the business metric of the client and are able to offer solutions there, we would be able to, solve this problem of service fees and get better service fees so that we are able to invest more in the associates.
Yeah, thanks Mayur, for that perspective. I think all of us should strive towards the same. And as we bring more new people into this industry, a lot of freshers are now joining this industry and finding this an industry of choice. And they should also come with the same mindset, and they should also realize that now it's evolved to a stage where they're going to consider associates and our candidates as the real brand ambassadors. So thanks for setting that perspective very clearly, and the importance of driving their productivity as well comes with us. We have that responsibility and nobody else, Now I'll just flip the question a little to hear Philip's views on that. And so I'm sure, as we speak, there are a couple of questions that participants have that are being sent through messages and to ISF. We'll take all the questions towards the end. If participants, there must be a lot of experts in the participants as well. If anybody would like to directly ask a question to any panelist, great. But we'll come back to that since they're all on call. I just thought I'll tell them that if you have questions, please keep them ready. Philip, your question is more on critical versus non-critical jobs. Okay. So my question to you is that, have we evolved to a stage where customers have now started hiring people on contractual mode for critical jobs? Back in the days, it were only entry-level non-critical jobs that was for contract workforce. But today, do you think a lot of critical workforce, critical jobs, which are very important to the organization's success, are being managed by our associates? Do you see that trend? Because that's what is going to position the industry a lot better. Do you see that trend for associates?
Thank you, Vishnu. Thank you, Aisa, for giving this opportunity to speak on this panel. Yes, of course, I think in the last 30 years, or forget 30 years, just even if we just look back 1 year, 1.5 years since the whole pandemic has set in and has changed the perspectives of various organizations, and a lot of job roles have evolved from what they were before, and it has changed the overview of the entire industry. For example, earlier we were getting the jobs or the contractual workforce only at a very, very entry level. I think earlier we used to get just the data entry jobs, I think 20, 30 years back. And now I think we have moved up the ladder and we are getting mid-management jobs as well. And I think it is now to the extent that even the critical jobs are also getting outsourced. In many industries, I think most in-demand occupation and specialities did not exist 10 years back, and now I think it is getting outsourced to a very, very large extent. For example, some of the jobs like telemedicine physicians, something very, very new job which is evolved, and I think like this, there are many, many job roles which are critical in nature. Social media influencers, drone operators, cloud architects. I think these are some of the job roles which have evolved over the years, and I think they are critical in nature and being outsourced as well. I'll just give an example of, say, banking sector. Banking sector now outsources many of the jobs like ATM management, telebanking, customer complaints, redressals, debit credit card issues, billings. All these are definitely critical jobs and do, I think, outcome in terms of a lot of new perspectives. Even the supply chain and logistic industries, earlier we used to get only the blue collar workforce, and now I think mid-management jobs are also getting outsourced, and they are very, very critical in nature.
Okay. Philip, just a quick question. What do you think would have been the most niche job that ever came your way? I heard drone operator. I'm not sure if that's very difficult to find, but what are the very difficult, critical, 1 or 2 examples that you can think of from any of your customers, highly paid, highly skilled?
I think social media influencers are,
social media influencers.
Right. So that is one of the very different kind of a job. And when we got this opening, I think we were first looking at how and what are the basic criteria for the job and what are the influencers and how to get them. So it was for one of very leading brand coming to India and setting up their operations. So this was something.
Which industry was that, Philip?
Sorry?
Which industry?
This was apparel brand.
Apparel brand. Okay. So apparel brand requires social media influencers. to drive their sales.
Right.
Interesting. Interesting.
So,
Fair enough. Thank you, Philip. I'll move to Monisha because,
Yeah.
prior to this, we were all talking, and Monisha had some very interesting, points on, about how associates who work on critical jobs for us, at customers are very important brand ambassadors for us there.
Yes.
So Monisha, could you talk a little more on that? It was very interesting to hear you last time on the brand ambassador aspect and the impact these associates can have when they do critical jobs at a customer's place.
Yes, actually, Vishnu, what has happened is this COVID-19 pandemic, it has made us to rethink our ways of working. It has presented us with unique opportunities to reboot the way we are working at this point of time. Organizations have embraced that agility factor very well. Okay, at least the temp staffing, companies have done that, because it's a totally a VUCA world. It's absolutely volatile. You don't know what's going to happen next. So rather be prepared for it. It's a dynamic environment. And here what has happened is temp associates have played a very critical role. Okay, they have been an integral part of any staffing company. They have acted as a catalyst between the customer, the client, as well as the temp staffing, especially in this kind of an environment. Okay. It becomes very imperative for staffing companies, actually, that's why, to listen to them, to communicate to them, as well as to, be their motivation factor. Now, if you have observed, I mean, I've been hearing my other fellow panelists, wherein we have heard about how temp staffing associates have been our frontline workers, okay, especially during these pandemic times. They have worked as essential workers in e-commerce industry, whether it's an e-commerce client. They have worked as frontline workers in the healthcare industry. They were healthcare workers. They were frontline staffs providing unending services, especially during this pandemic time, right? So somewhere these guys have done a great job of representing the companies that they belong to, the temp staffing companies that they belong to, and working for those various, organizations during these, difficult times. I have two case studies out over here, wherein, Prompt Personnel, my company, wherein we had this large MNC client. It's a German company having India operations. Okay, and they manufacture these small industrial components which are very essential for ventilators. And in the first pandemic, if you all remember, ventilators was something which was in great demand. Everybody were looking around, all hospitals, all of them. And this company had a big order of manufacturing these ventilators, and that's when they were falling short of manpower. Imagine hiring 160 people during this kind of a pandemic situation, especially the first lockdown, which was throwing all of us out of gear. All of us were in work from home situation. All the employees were sitting at home, but still we worked it out. And the best part was those associates whom we have recruited were mostly largely women. Okay. The client, of course, provided us with basic facilities of getting them tested and things like that. But these associates worked so tirelessly in this company and ensured that not a single day's production was hampered. They did the manufacturing of those chips or those small components, which were very essential, and kept the factory running up and tight. So somewhere, somewhere they kept up their word of work, and Prompt Personnel could, bank on these temp associates and say, hey guys, you all have done a great job for us. I mean, although it was a pandemic situation, you all went out there, you all worked out so well that today we got so many testimonials from that customer. We have got so many referrals because of this kind of work done by our associates. We have got, referrals for the recruitments that we have done. Now, all this was done. Why? Because we took care also of our temp associates who were out there working for those various companies. Yeah. Now, even if we had to, source healthcare workers, for where we had this large hospital wherein we had to recruit a lot of nursing staff. We did that. I mean, people couldn't even come for interviews, but we managed it out. And today, those guys are still working out there and they give us a lot of reference. Why? Because we have taken care of them. We have held them, held close to them and told them, hey guys, you are not alone in this entire scene. We are there with you.
Yeah.
Not to worry. And they have spread the word of mouth saying that we get our salaries on time. We are taken care of. We are never thrown to the winds. We have taken care of, getting their vaccination things also to be aligned for certain companies. There were bikers, delivery boys. There were lots of things that we, went across through this last 2 pandemics. And somewhere these associates have, spread the word of cheer, the positivity, and have been great brand ambassadors for us.
Interesting.
So
Very interesting, Monisha.
Yeah. So such acts of, timely care has brought a lot of goodwill to the companies.
Yeah.
So I think, guys, they need to be taken care of.
Yeah. I think also, I know a lot of staffing companies stretched a lot during the pandemic times.
Yes.
Because a lot of healthcare hiring was happening,
Yes.
And a lot of essential commodities,
Yes.
which had to be delivered to houses. And I know a lot of staffing companies have gone out of their way at that point in time just to have a role in helping the country during these difficult phases. We did a lot in Allegis as well, roles of medical, clinical. I'm sure Mayur would have done a lot of work on essential items and things like that. So, but I just want to take another question, another point I want to highlight. So when we speak about critical jobs, it's actually the nature of the job and the work that is more important than the brand, is what I would say. Okay. We are not selling the client alone. Okay. Somewhere we are actually selling the nature of work. We're selling the work.
Yes.
A lot of people for today, customers actually don't matter. Okay. They want to do a good work which has meaning, which connects to their purpose in life, right? So as long as we are selling the role and not the customer, initially it was always the customer we sold because
Correct.
the role had no meat in it.
Absolutely.
The roles were always entry-level jobs. It had no meat. So we had to sell the customer to attract people. Today we are now selling the role, right, Mayur?
So yeah, so absolutely, and very nicely explained by Monisha about how it really helped their clients and the organization. But for me, from day one, these roles that have been given to the associates have always been critical roles, operationally critical or business-wise critical. So this frontline thing is slightly misnomer for me, and I'll tell you how. So when I was working, providing associates for the third-party logistics company or a leading e-commerce company, which has got a lot of emphasis on their brand image. Okay, the delivery boys was going and delivering the consignment to the end customer of that client, and thereby managing the last mile delivery of the entire customer experience. So if the delivery boy is managing the customer experience of that large on e-commerce company, which is very highly brand conscious, how can that work be a non-critical work? It's an extremely critical work. And therefore, more we invest in that associate and train that associate and do a lot in terms of onboarding of that associate, better would be the end customer experience and thereby the customer satisfaction and the client satisfaction as well.
Absolutely.
Now, another example I would like to give is that for me, I also managed a customer who is in a credit card, sales. It's a credit card company, so they sell, their business is selling credit. Now, this associate who is acquiring customers for the credit card company, either standing at the airport or a mall, is managing an important customer experience, not the last mile, but first mile this time. Okay, in terms of the acquiring the customer.
Correct.
Now, very important, if that experience is not good, the customer would not get acquired for the credit card. So for me, that role is also extremely business critical role. So I do not agree with that frontline thing, okay, or a non-critical thing. These are extremely critical roles in the organization where the associates are either managing the last mile customer experience or the first mile customer experience.
But Mayur, how would you improve the quality of their service as a staffing as a staffing partner? How would you improve the quality? What are you going to do to improve the quality or the experience that you spoke about, if it's frontline, So what are the tools and what do you do to improve that quality and the productivity of our associates?
So, to be honest, at this point of time, if it's a general staffing contract, there is very little that you are able to actually do. Okay. The only thing that you can, what we are able to do is, hire the right kind of candidates who fit the profile to the maximum possible and manage their onboarding experience in a very error-free manner, or ensure that, as Monisha mentioned, that we take care of the hygiene factor.
Absolutely.
So that when they come on board, they feel that they are wanted, and the experience has been very smooth and effective for them to join that company. Also, we can create a little bit of excitement around their joining time by hand-holding them, giving them, that's what we practice at Caliber, giving a welcome call to them, making them understand that this has been your job description. These are the expectations that you can keep on the client environment. These are the kind of trainings they have to undergo. So the onboarding experience becomes a very critical factor for a general staffing contract.
Very true.
But if you go at the higher end, and if you are able to proactively train people for the job and then go to the client with a readily available associate who is well trained, well certified, and can assure productivity, then not only that it would give satisfaction, better client satisfaction, and we can earn better fees from the client, but also it would mean a meaningful engagement for the associate also.
Got you. So we have a last.
I truly agree with what
I was about to ask Rupinder. Rupinder, I was about to ask you the same thing. Can you add one more perspective when you talk? Okay, can you talk about what Mayur was just saying? What is it? Because I think in a role like yours, you should be doing more of it, because you're into brand promotions. What do you do and how do you manage them when they're so widely spread out, right? And sometimes people don't even know that they're your employees, right? They don't have a badge that says that they are your employees. So there are two aspects, right? One is the challenge of managing them in spread out areas without any touch point. And number two is still, trying to improve their productivity. So how would you do that? Because it's a little different from what Mayur said, because Mayur's industry within the staffing industry, slightly different from what you do.
Yeah. So I was actually adding on those lines only. See, at times we often feel, okay, we will need to create brand ambassadors. I don't know what all spends we need to make, what all things we need to do. Actually, we are talking about these associates. They just need small recognition, small, efforts. So for example, at Multiplier, we are associated with an NGO from last 3 to 4 years. Now, this NGO is specially working into retail sector employees, because they feel that, these are the employees which are most thankless, jobs that they do, because we all are enjoying our holidays or Diwali holidays or New Year holidays or weekends. And these are the people who are working during those times, right? Yeah. So they are taking a lot of initiatives. For example, one of our employee has participated in one of their, event that they do on an annual basis, wherein we invite the entries from the employees that if anything good, any good service customer experience that we have given to any customer, they can fill the nomination. Any integrated related good thing that they have done. So they recognize that platform. They have created a very huge platform. You won't imagine this guy that I'm talking about, one of our employee, has earned 1 lakh rupees, which is almost, 5 months or 6 months salary for him to earn in one single month. And that too by calling him in Mumbai and having an event and staying in a 5-star hotel. So, and also there are similar, these NGO is doing a lot of other initiatives. For example, during pandemic time, a lot of people were under a lot of stress. So just by giving them a call and hearing them out, you need not to do a lot of very big things. There are very small items. For example, we at Multiplier, we initiated a series of sessions, doing with these people, by just connecting with them, just hearing them out, what they want to talk about, what are the challenges that they're facing. For example, a lot of people don't know how to manage their finances. So we created sessions like how to manage their personal finances, right? We also help them in taking some small loans, like anybody want to take a bike or a laptop or something like that, you get them associated. There are various such partners available wherein you can just route them to them. So
yeah,
it's like very at times we think on a very bigger scale, but in our experience, when you just give that sense of belonging and you hear them and then you provide them all these small initiatives, it works very well. That's what I have to say on the question.
I would like to add here, Vishnu.
Sure,
There
Monisha.
are two such cases wherein, the temp associates during the pandemic, and they had to travel. So they needed those travel passes. And without those travel passes, they just couldn't, move across states or do any kind of traveling or carrying goods or anything. Again, when we gave them that support, of 6,000 such kind of passes, travel passes were issued to them within a period of just 48 hours. I mean, the kind of elatement on their faces was amazing. I mean, that helped them to move across and continue with their, work schedules. Again,
Yeah.
what we did was an open house for the associates. And it was a very small, basic open house wherein we just brought a consultant to tell them about the medical benefits.
Was it done
benefits
virtually?
such as,
You did that virtually, or you did that?
we did one virtually and one we have done even physically also.
Wow.
So yeah. So we could manage that after the first pandemic was over. And then this virtual one was very important, because there we explained how they could take the benefits of, if there was somebody who was a COVID patient in their house, any medical expenses that they can, cover up. So such small things add up to, the delightment of the associate. And of course, he will definitely talk good about the company.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
goes as
And
a
in
good
that case, you don't need that badge.
You don't
What
need.
you were saying, that they
They
might
just
carry your
need
name.
that. They just need that recognition. They forget about the rewards.
What I realized is that when hearing Monisha talk, it's good to have, and I know it's a favorite topic of ISF as well as in Allegis as well. It's good to have more women in staffing. You can see a lot of compassion. It comes very naturally to them. That's their first response, right? And that really we need more women here, so that that we give a better experience. That's what I truly believe. Philip, would you like to add on anything, and then if there are any final comments from all of you, we'll wind up in the next couple of minutes and then open it up for questions, because we just have less than 10 minutes left. I was just being a little conscious of time. So would you like to add in any aspect, Philip?
I think most of the aspects have been covered by all our panelists, but there's something that I think is missed out is we give a lot of benefits to these resources, and we go beyond our capabilities also sometimes to ensure that we meet the basic needs. But there's one thing which we do in our organization is recognizing their work as well. Because when they go into an office, they are always being compared, or they compare themselves with the permanent employees, and they go as a brand of ours, or maybe a contractual workforce. So there's always a dilemma, or there's a they always think that a list of themselves when they go to an office and they compare at a parallel role with the permanent employees. So what we do is we, on a quarterly basis, do a performance review of these resources in line with the business managers and operations as well. And we do a quarterly reward and recognition program for them. It gives them a lot of boost in terms of their work that they do, and recognizing what they do parallelly with, because most of the time they are excluded from the benefits or schemes of which the permanent employees get from their employers. So as a staffing organization, when we do something like this for them, and that is being promoted internally, because our client, they promote this internally also, that these are the employees who have been the employee of the month, or they got a special recognition for something good initiative that they've taken. It gives them a lot of morale boost.
Yeah.
And that's how I think over and above we can do a lot of things for them, and which we are doing, but recognizing their work and giving them encouragement over there, and also make them comparable to the permanent workforce is something which is a real morale booster for all the employees.
So one thing very interesting, I was extremely proud, when I realized that we were able to vaccinate some of our associates even before the perm employees got vaccinated.
Right.
So I was extremely proud, and we had vaccinated them even before the perm employees of that organization got vaccinated. So since you spoke about it, Philip, that comparison, as long as we are all conscious about it and we work towards it, because even Rupinder spoke about how they move to different companies in the same industry, and they become your brand ambassadors, and they prefer working with you if you add such value to them. So that's very interesting. Anybody wants to add anything?
Yeah, I want to add, Vishnu, here, especially for general staffing, when we are managing a large distributed workforce across the remotest location. One thing which is really helping, after being able to do the hygiene right and getting towards managing the associate experience, technology is playing a big role. Okay.
Right.
So, for example, at Caliber, we have this app which we have created, and it is named as Mitra. Okay. So it has been conceptualized to become the Sarathi or the charioteer of the associate through the entire life cycle of the journey from hire to retire. And the idea is to be able to be available, be alongside the associate and available for any kind of query or grievance or any kind of intervention that is required. So if you are able to do it proactively, there are certain things that we do proactively, okay? But at the same time, ensuring that at a click of a button, there is somebody to, if not be able to provide 100% resolution to the problem, but at least a response, a quick response. And as rightly mentioned by Monisha, there are small things which really matter to the associates. So for example, a birthday call. So a birthday call going to a person who was a housekeeper at a remote location, he was overwhelmed. Then he started, crying, saying that nobody recognizes me and, nobody wishes me on my birthday, but you guys have called me up. I feel great about it.
So sorry, there's a bit of a time check, but thank you, Mayur, for that. I think these small things make a big difference.
Yes.
As long as all of us in the industry feel that and continue doing it, I'm very sure very soon contracting, associates, all of this is going to become a preferred mode of employment. Like how they do it in the European countries, where candidates prefer to be on a contractual mode than a perm job, okay, based on the nature of the work, okay. And if they're feeling the same, whether they're on a staffing company role or on the company, on the core roles of an organization, it really shouldn't matter. It's the role that should matter. And as long as all of us work together, we can make it a preferred mode of employment.
And even clients are also there are clients, I'm sure you must have noticed at least in our organization, we have noticed a trend. Even clients are also looking forward to, they are looking forward to such, solutions. It's just that the organization should have the guts to go and say, yes, we can deliver, this kind of a manpower, and we can bring that kind of a value on the table.
Exactly.
Clients are eager to look out for such solutions. The other day, I was attending one of the session with ISF only. I think it was on the IT sector. In my last sector, they were talking about MSP and a lot of other solutions.
Correct.
Actually, it's a viable option, and if it is taken care well, it is delivered well. These people can, take you the places, and you can certainly earn more you can certainly make more better profits, and clients are also eagerly, every month, our NBD teams start getting, these kind of brief where clients are working with the previous arrangement where it is only a plain vanilla staffing arrangement, but now they are asking and giving us a brief, okay, what extra you can do, and then, basis that, we can pay you extra. Yeah. So even clients are also looking forward to such.
So Rupinder, so sorry, we've already overshot the time.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
And I'm getting messages from Suchita and everybody in ISF saying that there are a few questions that need to be answered.
Sure, please.
Yeah. So over to you, Suchita. Would you want them to ask the questions directly? Would you want to read it out? How does that work?
I think, first of all, let me say it was such an engrossing and interesting session. I actually lost track of time, and apologies to all the delegates. We should have at least broken the rundown that was happening 15 minutes back. My sincere apologies. But thank you and kudos to all of you. I think all of you are citing such interesting examples. I'm sure we are looking forward to a second session, maybe sometime in future. But quickly taking one or two questions because we have already overshot. There is one question from Mr. Sanjay Sachdeva who asks, why are such employees treated as second level employee by employers? I just took up this question because this is kind of in a way also representing the way contract staff is sometimes feeling at the end of a user company. Why is there a difference in treatment? I understand a lot of user companies have also commented that, we are trying to bring in that balance. There should not be any differentiation, but all of you, if any experiences, how things are changing, I'm sure they're changing. But if you would like to share some experience.
Suchita, can I answer? Nobody asked me a question, so I want to answer one question.
Oh.
I'm so sorry, I think.
Yeah,
Monisha, I'll not take more than 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, then after that, I would add some perspective.
So no, for me, I believe that a lot has changed, Suchita. What the question is a relevant question. Okay. I myself have worked with good organizations where we were not giving a lot of privileges in the past because of various reasons, cost structures. But today I can say that a consultant or an associate in my organization has the same benefits that I have. Okay, so all the benefits. Okay, and it has taken time, and every leading staffing company is aspiring to do that. Some have already done it, and some will do it soon. So clearly, he's asking the right thing, and I can see the change now. In Allegis, it's the same. The benefits are the same, clearly. Okay, so that is one thing that I just thought I'll say, that as long as we understand it's our responsibility. As long as we believe it's our responsibility to give them that importance and give them and position their role accordingly, and don't play along if some customer says that they're not important, so we just want to save cost. It's okay if the customer wants to save cost, okay, but you have an answerability if you've taken up that business, right? You chose to take it at that cost. Now at that cost, you have to give the experience that you promised to give all your associates across board. Okay, even if a customer does not realize the value, we can make them realize the value. That's what I'd like to say.
Yeah, I would also take this question, Suchita, because it's very important to make your temp associates, feel a part of the organization. I have been constantly using these sentences throughout my speech. I've been telling that they are an important catalyst. They are your extended arm. They are your people. Okay. So as long as you make them feel owned and, give them the benefits, you are always there hand-holding them. So I don't think then at any point of time, they would, feel anyway lesser than the other permanent employees. As a matter of fact, today, the temp staffing companies have given them those apps through which they are, punching in their attendance. They are celebrating their birthdays. They are there on social media platforms of all the temp staffing companies. They are given a welcome mail from personnel. At least we do that as soon as an associate joins in. So we have made that also make them feel that they are part of this organization. We were also planning to give them some kind of uniforms, but somehow that did not work out. But of course, we make sure that our logos and our brand is always carried along with them. So as soon as we have an onboarding, previously we used to do that, and we wish to continue that. We used to give them those small little token gifts, with the brand prompt personnel, the company saying that, hey, thank you for joining us and we are there with you. So there's nothing to worry. So I would like to add that.
I think small steps, as most of you have referred at some point in the conversation, just to conclude it, the small steps go a large way. And I think that's the way we started recognizing the HR policies when it started about, I think, half a century ago, at least in a formal way. And I'm sure the same will percolate and will shape the future of the contract staffing industry. And the formal staffing companies are putting in a lot of effort to make sure that our associates are our employees. They are treated as our employees, they're protected as our employees. And I'm sure not only just your organization, but most of our member organizations are doing that. And we're proud to represent the companies that are members to ISF today. I'm sorry we are not able to take any more questions for now, but we are open to having a discussion on social media as well as ISF as an organization. We are open to take questions if you would like to mail it across to us. I thank all the speakers who have taken out time. Thank you, session chair, Mr. Vishnu Dev, because I understand this is the most toughest job. Not only because the topic is so interesting, you are tempted to answer most of them, and yet you have to control. Definitely each one of you, Monisha, Mayur, Rupinder, Philip, you have added so much insights. I'm sure we will keep looking forward to having another session sometime in future on this subject again. Thank you all the delegates. Thank you speakers. With this, we will call this a close for today's session. Thank you for your time.
Pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Suchita. Thank you.
Have a good evening.
You too. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.